Welcome back to your mat. I'm Crookshank, and this is going to be a nice class to work through. We're going to really focus on the sides of the ribs, but as a byproduct of that, we're going to have a lot of work through the upper back, the shoulders. You might use this class when you want more of this heart-opening effect or this kind of boost to your emotional state, lift in your spirit that kind of comes with this work that we do as well. We know how important these social connections are in our lives for a lot of different aspects of our health. And this is one way we're going to be looking at kind of supporting that heart opening as a way to hopefully leave you prepared to go out into the world and connect and create some depth and meaning in that way as well. So we'll do a little bit of acupressure, myofascial work, some flow, some meditation, and a little bit of pranayama. So you get a little bit of everything. You will need, at the very least, 2 large yoga blankets. If you're subbing those out for large bath towels, you might just grab a few because they're usually a little bit smaller. And then you'll need a little bit of wall space toward the end. If you have blocks, grab a couple. If you don't have blocks, we are going to use it at the beginning, so you could grab a foam roller instead or use your fingers for the myofascial release that we do at the beginning. And then if you want to bolster for shavasana. So definitely grab a couple of blankets or a few towels, and you might move your mat near a wall or move there later. We'll do that at the end of class. And then I will also mention too that I know this is a longer practice, I like with these longer practices sometimes too to do the final portion at the end of your day. So you could always do the first part at the beginning, the first half of your day, and the last part in the last half of your day, which makes a nice little support for the phases of our day as well. So we're going to start with a little myofascial work. If you have a block or a foam roller, grab that. You're going to place it on its middle height. If not, you're just going to be using your hand on the side of the ribs here and just gently massaging. I'm really just right below my armpit here on the side of the ribs, and you can look for a tender spot. And at some point, you can also just release your hand and kind of pause and tune into your breath as an option too. I'm on the block on the middle height. A foam roller is sometimes a little more forgiving too. If you're feeling really tender there, you can also put a blanket over it. So I'm going to place this kind of right in my armpit, but kind of at the lower part of my armpit so that the lower corner of the block kind of hits the side of my ribs. If that feels too tender for you, feel free to move it around there. But ideally, if you can, kind of place it so the lower tip of the block there, lower corner, is kind of right around the ribs. My elbow's on the floor, my head is in my hands. And then just start by taking a couple of breaths there and seeing if you can relax. Now, if you're not able to relax, this is a great chance to grab a blanket or a towel and kind of lay a couple layers, a layer or two on top of the block there to soften it. But I want you to be able to really melt, so even sense that the skin of your shoulder, right over the top of the right shoulder there, is kind of softening. Sense that the neck is softening, the head is dropping. And then you can either stay right there, that might be perfect as it is, or you put the left hand on the floor in front of you and just kind of rock a little gently forward and back as a way to stimulate this area as well. We'll be here for less than a minute longer. And we're looking at a point here in Chinese medicine. This is the last point on the spleen meridian. And in this kind of energetic cycle of the meridian, that energy then flows right into the heart meridian, which is right in the center of the armpit. So in Chinese medicine, this point is used for a lot of different things, but one of them is to help that transition of this cycling of this energetic system as a way to help support and lift the spirit, especially when there's a lot of worry or excessive intellectual processing or instability or maybe a lack of support in relationships or life. A really nice one to lift the mood, especially for those reasons. Just take another couple moments there. If you're rocking, be still and see if you can just use your exhale to soften. Just tune in. And then we're going to switch sides. So just go ahead and come off of that and then switch sides. You can roll over. I'm going to turn so I can face you still. And again, place it in the armpit. So that could be fingers, foam roller, or block on its middle height. You could put some blankets on top again, but make sure if you're using the block that the lower edge of it is kind of more toward the ribs there. And if you're using the foam roller, just that contact point is kind of more toward the ribs. And then start just by being still there. Elbows on the floor, head is in the hand. Drop the head. Imagine softening the skin over the top of that left shoulder. Softening up through the neck. The spleen is part of the earth element, so very much a part of this sense of stability and anchor that then gives rise to the heart, feeds into the heart, or the fire element, which is so much, and there's obviously a lot more to all of these things, but so much about connection and social engagement and interactions. So you can imagine how those two might also benefit from each other, that nice balance between the two. And then again, if you want to, you can rock a little forward and back. I'm not going far, and again, you can skip that if you want. We're just trying to stimulate this point, this interchange from the earth to the fire element. Again, a really great one to help lift the spirit. And really, a lot of this heart opening work is great for lifting the spirit. And also just for those of us who sit at a desk, a lot of really great one working around that upper back. So whatever reason you come to this practice for, just tune into that awareness. And if you're still rocking, allow yourself to settle into one point there and take a couple more breaths, softening on your exhale. Great. And then remove your block. And I'm actually going to go back to the first side. So go back to your right side. And we're going to sit on the right hip. My knees are bent and just stacked however is comfortable there. And I've got my forearm on the floor. And you can take my elbow on the floor and take your forearm whatever angle feels good for your shoulder. So that hand might be more toward the long edge of your mat or the short edge of your mat, or kind of somewhere in between. I like kind of 45 degrees there personally. I'm going to take the left hand behind the head and then inhale, open the chest, push the floor away with your right elbow so that you're lifting the chest and extending the spine as you draw the left shoulder blade back and the left elbow back. And push the floor away with that right arm, the right hand, the right forearm, the right elbow pushing. And then try and draw both shoulder blades toward each other. Take an inhale there. On your exhale, bring the elbow toward the right elbow, round the spine, and again, push away with that right arm on the floor. Stay there again for one more breath. Exhale it out. And then we're going to move with the breath. Inhale, draw the shoulder blades back, extend the spine, open. Exhale, close it off, round the spine, draw the shoulder blades apart. Inhale, open, extend, squeeze the shoulder blades. Exhale, round, broaden. Inhale one more time. And exhale to round. Now you can stay there, otherwise we're going to add another element on, come back to more of a neutral position, lift the hips up, and it's going to be the same thing. Inhale, open, squeeze the shoulder blades, extend. Exhale, round, push the floor away. Inhale, open, shoulder blades back. Exhale, round. I'm just finding as much movement as you can there. Take one more. Sparking a little warmth and awareness. And then come back to center, lower the hip, and we'll just switch sides. So you can roll over. And then again, find a comfortable setup there. Find that angle of the left forearm that feels comfortable to you, that feels stable to you, Bend the knees, stack the legs, and then right hand behind the head. Inhale, open. Again, take a few breaths this first time. And I want you to think about not just the right elbow opening, but the shoulder blades squeezing. And then push the left arm into the floor, not just the elbow, but the forearm and the hand. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. And then think about extending your spine like a little mini back bend. And then stay there. Take a big inhale. And then on your exhale, go ahead and bring that right elbow down, bring it toward the left elbow, and again, stay there for a couple of breaths, pushing that left arm into the floor, rounding the spine, and then imagine the shoulder blades spreading apart. And then we're going to move with the breath. Inhale, shoulder blades back, extend the spine. Exhale, spread that upper back as you round. Deep breath, inhale, extend and open the chest. Exhale, round, broaden the upper back. Deep breath in. And exhale it out. And then inhale, come up to neutral. Again, you can stay there or lift the hips, and we'll just repeat there. Inhale, take it back, open it up, extend. Exhale, keep pushing the floor away with that left arm round. Just finding as much movement as you can there. Inhale, open, squeeze the shoulder blades back. Exhale, round. One more there. Inhale. Feeling that support, strength, and mobility there. And then come back to neutral. And go ahead and come up to a seat here. And we're going to come into tabletop. Tuck your toes under on your inhale, extend through your spine. And on your exhale, round through your spine. Just one round there. So really feel into it. Inhale, extend through the spine. Keep the sitting bones up, hands where they are. Just start to lean the hips back. Push the floor with your hands. Hover the knees and hips slowly toward downward facing dog. No need to straighten your knees there. Just find a comfortable position. And then take a couple of breaths and see if you can lengthen the side ribs there. That might mean pushing forward with the hands, maybe drawing the upper outer thighs back, or the very top of the thighs where they meet the hips, straight back. Relaxing the neck, take another breath. All right, and then look forward between your hands. Step your right foot forward, lower your back knee, and you can always grab one of those blankets for padding anytime you want under your knees. We're going to come into low lunge there. Sink the hips first. Lift through the chest. And then on your inhale, sweep the arms up. And again, just lingering in the breath along the way. We're just going to warm up nice and slow here. Start to bring the hips back here. And you can point or flex those back toes. I'm going to take the right hand to my right thigh and find a side bend there. Bending over to the right. So I'm reaching my left arm up and over. And just find a position with the hips that feels good to you to speak to that side body or maybe another part that wants a little attention, so the hips could sneak forward or back. Notice how that influences what you feel. And then on your inhale, go ahead and come on up. Take your arms straight out in front of you and bring your hips now over the back knee. And then from here, I'm going to protract or push my arms forward so that my shoulder blades spread apart. So imagine that broadening between the shoulder blades again. And then I'm going to keep that as I start to sweep my right arm back and come into a twist there. Now from here, really think about the left side of your ribs wrapping around toward the right side of your mat and the right side of your ribs wrapping back. Take a deep breath there. And then on your inhale, go ahead and come right back forward there. On your exhale, go ahead and plant your hands. And we're going to start to straighten out that right leg. So if you'd like, you can tuck your back toes under, maybe even sit on that back heel, or if it feels more comfortable, you can stay more upright with the hips. But just take a few breaths, lengthening gently through the back of that right leg with no expectations, no need for it to look or feel a different way than it does. Just breathing into it, whatever you find. And then go ahead and come right back forward to your low lunge. You're going to pick that back knee up, come into pyramid pose and just fold forward there. Again, your right knee doesn't need to straighten, but just find a comfortable position where you can gently lengthen through the back of that right leg. The back heel can be up or down, your choice. Just feeling into the body, sensing this place of safety on your mat too, where you can soften into that support, knowing there's a sense that your body has this knowing that you will adjust and modify and support and breathe into. Great. Go ahead and bend that right knee a little bit so that you can swing it around to Prasarita Padottanasana. So I'm turning my toes toward the left side of my mat. And then wiggle your feet close enough so that you can grab the shins with opposite arms. So my arms are crossing here, and I'm grabbing opposite shins anywhere along the shin or the knee. And then I'm just folding forward. So you might even, if you're not feeling a gentle stretch in the arms, once you grab the shins, even inch the feet out just a tiny bit more. It's usually not a lot required. Just breathe into that upper back area for a few moments. Great, and then slowly release. Come back to low lunge at the top of your mat. And then go ahead and step your left ankle behind your right ankle. Go ahead and cross the ankles there. Soften the knees. Just take a fold for a moment. On your inhale, carefully coming on up. Testing your balance a little bit there. Go ahead and come to stand. So my right ankle's still in front of my left. I'm going to go ahead and take my arms up overhead. You can clasp them if you want. And then exhale, I'm going to bend over to the right. Hands however you like. Just coming into a little side stretch there. Anchor down through the left heel, left foot. As you lift up and over with the torso. Feel a nice little tug through that whole side body layer. On your inhale, go ahead and come on up. Bring the hands to the heart, thumbs at your sternum there. And then soften the shoulders down. Stretch your arms straight out in front of you. Protract and reach through the arms there. And then go ahead and twist. Sweep that right arm back. Now anchor down through your feet because there's a little balance challenge here. Take your left side ribs forward toward the right long edge of your mat. Take the right side ribs back. And then keep that twist. Start to lift your right knee up in toward your chest. Find a little bit more balance challenge there. Keep the pelvis turning forward as you turn your sternum toward the side of your mat. Take another breath. Standing up tall. And then release the arms back to the front. Cross your ankles there. Bring your hands back to your heart. Take an inhale there. On your exhale, soften the knees, fold forward. Inhale, look up halfway. And then on your exhale, step your left foot back and line up heel to arch. We're going to come right into extended side angle here. So bring your right elbow to your thigh so you can come up a little higher. And then take your left hand behind the head. So just as we started with inhale, open and extend. And on your exhale, round. Broaden that upper back. Inhale, broaden the chest, extend the spine, open the elbow. Exhale, broaden the upper back, round the spine. One more time, inhale, open. Exhale, round. And inhale, come back up to a more neutral position. Keep the hand behind the head, and now reach your elbow forward so your tricep will come closer to your cheek. Reach through the elbow, reach back through your left heel, and then start to lean the head back as you keep reaching through the elbow there. Take a couple breaths. Really plug into that left foot as you wrap that right hip underneath you to create some steadiness. Nice anchor here. Good. On your inhale, extend that left arm forward. And on your exhale, put the left hand down. We're going to wiggle back for Vashisthasana. So you could keep the right foot on the floor, or you could stack the feet. Either way, reach that right arm forward. Get long through that right side. And then on your exhale, carefully put your right forearm down. Coming to the opposite side, plank on the forearm. And again, reaching through that left arm. Get as long as you can. And then exhale, bring both forearms down, form plank. Take a moment here just to feel that support through the shoulders, through the core, through the legs. And then slowly lower the hips for Sphinx pose. And then for Sphinx pose, take the forearms, separate the hands apart so your forearms are parallel. Put the hands on the floor there. And then already start to broaden through your clavicles, anchor down through the legs and the pubic bone there. That's your steadiness. And then if you'd like, on your inhale, start to lift the elbows, but squeeze them together as you imagine splitting your hands apart. Squeeze the elbows together, hands apart. Feel that action in the shoulders. Keep lifting and broadening through the clavicles, anchoring down through the legs and the pubic bone. Good. On your exhale, slowly lower. Bring the hands under your shoulders, forehead on the floor, and then draw your shoulder blades together. Squeeze them together, and then see if you can hover the hands up off the floor. Keep drawing your shoulder blades back. Anchor your pubic bone down and your legs down. Really just trying to squeeze those shoulder blades just a little bit more. Great, then lower the hands down, tuck your toes, engage through the belly, push up to plank, and in plank, push the floor away, and now spread your shoulder blades apart. Downward facing dog. Take a deep breath there. Again, trying to see if you can lengthen through the armpits and the sides of the ribs there. And then slowly start to step the left foot forward. We'll come into the second side. So again, pause there, anchor the right knee, sink through the hips, lift through the chest. Just kind of feeling into each part of it for a couple breaths. Inhale, start to bring the arms up. Lifting the rib cage off of the pelvis there as you lift the arms. And then come on up here. Take the left hand to the left knee. I'm actually bringing my hips back over my right knee to start with, bending over to the left for my side bend. And then again, as we did with the first side, if you want to lean the hips forward or keep them back, find a good angle that you can stay with for a couple breaths. Nice deep breath. On your inhale, go ahead and come on up. And then bring the arms in front of you. Again, walk hip back so that your hips are right over that right knee. And you can point or flex the back toes, your choice. Go ahead and push the arms forward so your shoulder blades spread apart. And then keep that as you take your left arm back into the twist. And then again, think about the right side of your ribs rotating around toward that left long edge of your mat. And the left side of your ribs tucking back behind you to help create that rotation through this kind of sticky part of the upper and mid back here. A nice deep breath. On your inhale, slowly release the twist. Go ahead and plant your hands down. And we're going to come into runner's lunge here. So again, you can straighten that left leg, maybe wiggle the foot forward a little bit if you need to there, or tuck your back toes and maybe sit back on your back heel. Find something you can stay with that allows you to find just a gentle stretch to the back of the leg. On your inhale, come back through low lunge. Lift your back knee up, and then pyramid pose. Start to fold forward there with both legs straight-ish, straighter. And again, find a nice gentle fold there. Welcoming whatever you find. Great, and then put a little bend in that left knee so you can easily pivot over to the right side of your mat. Again, you'll want to probably wiggle the feet a little closer here so you can grab opposite shins. So walk them as close as you need to. Grab the outer shins, and then once you have that, if you want to, you can walk the feet a little wider just to get a nice gentle stretch through the arms and the legs. Feel the breath move through the back of the heart, through that space between the shoulder blades. And then just gently release the arms. Walk it back to the top of your mat there. We're just coming to low lunge briefly so that you can step the right ankle behind the left. Take a couple of breaths there. Soften the knees. Again, a hard one sometimes to just welcome whatever you find there. And on your inhale, carefully come up to stand with a little bit of additional balance here needed. And then go ahead and take your arms up overhead, anchor down through that right foot. You can clasp the hands however you like, and just bend over to the left. Take a couple of breaths as you anchor the right foot down, and then try and lift up and over out of that right foot. Deep breath. On your inhale, go ahead and come on up. And then take the arms down in front of you. Go ahead and push the arms forward. Spread the shoulder blades apart. And then sweep that left arm back and come into your twist. Again, take your right side ribs toward the left side of your mat. Left side ribs back. And just noticing the cross-legged is really just helping us keep the pelvis turning forward. So have an awareness of your pelvis facing forward as your rib cage turns, rotates. Now keep that, and if you'd like, start to lift the left knee up. Maybe that provides a little bit more movement there to rotate or a little more challenge to your balance. But imagine that your pelvis is still turning forward. Left side ribs wrap back, right side ribs wrap forward. Great. Cross the ankles. Inhale, stretch your arms up. Exhale, soften the knees and fold forward. Inhale, look up halfway. And then on your exhale, step your right foot back in line with the left, so heel to arch. And then come on up, left elbow on left thigh. Right hand behind the head. Inhale, open chest, elbow, squeeze the shoulder blades. Exhale, round elbows toward each other. round the upper back. So just as we did before, inhale, open and extend. Exhale, round. One more time, inhale, open the chest. Exhale, open the upper back. And then come back to a more neutral position. Bring the tricep in close to your face, so hands still behind the head, elbow reaches forward now. Really carve that right foot back into the floor. Reach them away from each other, and then just start to lean the head back into the hand. Keep reaching your elbow forward, right foot back. Just take a couple breaths there. I love this practice because it's kind of some sneaky strength. It might feel like a lot of kind of feel-good stretching, but you feel that support within it. Feel, for instance, that left hip hugging in, that right foot anchoring down, even the right tricep hugging in. And then on your inhale, stretch the right arm forward. On your exhale, put your right hand down. So your choice for Vashisthasana. You could keep the foot on the floor or you could stack the feet, but either way, left arm forward, really lengthen. Longer and longer here. On your exhale, gently lower the left forearm down. We'll come into left side forearm side plank. Reach the right arm forward. Get longer through that right side. And then exhale, lower both forearms down. Palms could be together or apart, forearm plank. I like a little bounce here. Just kind of rocking forward and back quickly to really speak to the core, that support in the shoulders, the arms, the legs, the core. Great, and then lower the hips down, Sphinx pose. If they're not already, separate the forearms parallel to each other, hands and elbows about shoulders width apart. Already start to broaden the clavicles. And then to prepare, start to anchor the tops of the feet, the tops of the thighs, the pubic bone down. Feel that light up your lower belly. A little support there. And then if you'd like, start to lift the elbows. Squeeze the elbows in, split your hands apart. Squeeze the elbows in, split the hands apart, broaden the clavicles. Anchor through your feet and your pubic bone and your thighs. And then on your exhale, lower all the way down, hands under your shoulders, forehead to the floor. Ground down through the legs and pubic bone. Draw the shoulder blades back, squeeze them together, and then start to lift the hands and hover the hands by squeezing the shoulder blades more. And then squeeze the shoulder blades as much as you can. And then lower the hands, tuck the toes, engage quads, belly, and then push the floor away. Plank pose, push the floor away, spread your shoulder blades apart. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Just take a breath there, lengthen to the sides. Tops of thighs back. On your next inhale, lift your heels, look forward. On your exhale, go ahead and step to the top of your mat. Inhale, look up and lengthen. Exhale to fold and soften. Inhale, come all the way up. Maybe remove a layer. And then exhale, Tadasana. Hands at your sides. So we're going to take a highly modified Surya Namaskara of some sort here. So just follow along, a little more simple than what we just did though. Take an inhale, stretch your arms up, anchor down through the feet. Exhale, soften and fold. Inhale, look up and lengthen. Then on your exhale, step your left foot back, come right into extended side angle, elbow onto the thigh. Reach, we'll stay here just for one full breath. Wrap that right hip under, carve the left foot into the floor. And then on your exhale, plant your left hand down, Vashisthasana. Stack it up or foot on the ground. Inhale, reach. Exhale, right forearm down. So you'll find remnants of where we just were here. Forearm Vashisthasana. Inhale, reach. Exhale, both forearms down. Lower the hips. Inhale, Sphinx pose. Now stay there. Exhale, lift the elbows, hug the elbows in, split the hands apart. Stay for an inhale, broaden the clavicles. Exhale, lower down, hands into the shoulders. And then anchor the lower body. Squeeze the shoulder blades back, hover the hands. And then place the hands down, tuck the toes. Exhale, push the floor away. Plank pose. Downward facing dog. Take a deep breath. Let it go. Inhale, lift the heels, look forward. Exhale, step or hop top of the mat. Inhale, look up halfway. Exhale, soften. Inhale, come all the way up. Right into the second side. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, look up halfway. Exhale, step your right foot back. Extended side angle, elbow on the thigh. Inhale, reach. We'll stay for a full breath. Carve that right foot into the floor. Inhale, get longer there. Exhale, place your right hand down, Vashisthasana. Inhale, reach. Exhale, left forearm down. Inhale, reach. Exhale, forearm plank. Sphinx pose. Inhale, broaden through the clavicles. Exhale, lift the elbows, squeeze the elbows, broaden the hands. Take an inhale there, broaden the clavicles. Exhale, lower down, hands under shoulders. Anchor the lower body, shoulder blades back. Inhale, hover the hands. And then tuck the toes, hands come down. Exhale, push it away, plank pose. Inhale, downward facing dog. Let it go. Deep breath. Take an inhale, lift the heels. And on your exhale, go ahead and step back to the top of your mat. Inhale, look up halfway. Exhale, soften. Inhale, come all the way up to stand. And then pause there in Tadasana. Feet are hip width apart. Anchor down into the ground there. Notice what's shifting, what's changing. Maybe the mood, maybe your attitude, maybe how you feel in your body. Great, then open your eyes if they're closed. Start to shift your weight over to the left foot. We're going to come to standing pigeon. So take your right ankle to your left knee. Start to come forward here. Hands come to the heart. Again, this nice balance of mobility and strength as we flow through a lot of these postures today. Just working into the hips here for a moment. Take another breath there. And then on your inhale, go ahead and come on up to stand. And then take your hands, your thumbs to your sternum here. And then without moving anything else, just rotate your sternum to the right. Nothing else moves. Go as far as you can. You should feel your core doing that work for you there. Keep your pelvis turning forward. Just take another breath there. Stand up nice and tall. Inhale, come back to center. And then lower your right foot down, cross the ankles there. On your exhale, soften the knees and fold forward. Now, if you have blocks, you could grab them if you wanted. You definitely do not need them, but you could grab them here And if you have them, inhale, either come up onto your fingertips or your blocks, lengthen the spine. Take your right outer hip back and your side ribs forward. And then start to hover that left leg back for Digasana, Warrior C. And then if you'd like, you could keep your hands on the floor of the blocks or sweep the arms back. Nice deep breath. Sense this, again, this lengthening, lifting the armpits and side ribs forward, anchoring the hips back. And then just slowly start to bend your right knee, step it back to low lunge there. And then we're going to come back to that kind of variation here on our vinyasa. Vashisthasana. On the left hand, reach your right arm forward. Exhale, right forearm down. Reach the left arm forward. Take an inhale there. Exhale, both forearms down for plank. Sphinx pose. Inhale there. Exhale, lift the elbows, squeeze, spread the hands, clavicles. Take an inhale there. Exhale, lower down, hands under shoulders. Squeeze the shoulder blades back, pubic bone down. Hover the hands. And then lower the hands, tuck the toes. Push it away in plank. And downward facing dog. Take an inhale, lengthen through the sides. Exhale, let it go. Inhale, lift the heels. Look forward there. And on your exhale, just step back to the top of your mat. Inhale, come all the way up to stand. Anchor down through the feet. Lean your weight onto your right foot now. Go ahead and take your left ankle to your right knee. Standing pigeon, go ahead and sit back. Hands to the heart. Take a few breaths. Appreciate that steadiness that your body provides in this quite awkward shape. If you weren't familiar with it, you would probably look at it if you had never done it before and think it was pretty awkward. Just taking a moment to appreciate that steadiness that the body creates. Inhale, come on up, knee to chest, thumbs to the sternum, nothing else moves. Exhale, just rotate your sternum to the left. Using your core to create that movement there. Nothing else moves. Stand up nice and tall. Ground down through that right foot. Inhale, bring it forward. Exhale, lower that left ankle in front of the right. Inhale there, reach up. Exhale, soften and fold. Again, if you have blocks, you can use them. If not, you could just bring your fingertips to the floor and bend the knees. And then if you have those blocks or not, come up onto your fingertips or your blocks, lengthen your spine. And then start to send some attention to that left foot, interacting with the ground there. Draw your left outer hip back. Draw your side ribs and armpits forward. And then just try and keep that as you float your right foot back. Your option there to stay on the blocks or to sweep the hands back. Take a couple more breaths. Appreciating that inner steadiness. Even if you fall, right? It's still there to come back to. There's always the falling that happens. Go ahead and step it back to low lunge. Put the right hand down. And again, Vashisthasana, reach the left arm forward. Inhale. Exhale, left forearm down. Right arm reaches. Inhale. Exhale, forearm plank. Lower the hips. Inhale, Sphinx. Separate the hands if they're not already. Exhale, hover the elbows. Squeeze the elbows, spread the hands. Take an inhale, broaden through the chest. Exhale, lower down, hands under shoulders. Draw the shoulder blades back. Lift the hands to hover. Squeeze the shoulder blades. Then lower the hands down, tuck the toes. Push up to plank, push the floor away. Downward facing dog. Deep breath. Let it go. Inhale, lift the heels. Exhale, step to the top of your mat. Inhale, come all the way up to stand. Right, take a moment just to check in. And then if you'd like, I'm going to give you an option here to, if you have a block, place it on its low level, just outside of your left foot. And you really don't need it, but I'm just going to give you a little option to find some, not just inner steadiness, but outer steadiness, the block, as we come into Garudasana. So go ahead and lean your weight onto your left foot, and you're going to take your right leg over and just set the foot on the block. Then take your right arm under. Take an inhale there. Push the elbows forward, spread between the shoulder blades. And then on your exhale, start to round the upper back and bring the elbows toward your knees. Just take a breath or two there. Nice deep breath. On your inhale, go ahead and come on up. You're going to bring your right knee into your chest. Keep the arms as they are. And then don't move anything else. Just twist the arms to the right as far as you can. Then go ahead and stretch the arms apart. And you can grab the knee, or if you want to straighten the leg, you can grab the foot. But think again about right ribs drawing back, left ribs drawing forward and through. Standing up nice and tall, deep breath. And then inhale, come back to face the front of your mat. Cross your ankles. You might need to move that block aside a little. And on your exhale, folding forward. Now, again, we're going to come into this Digasana variation. So you could grab your blocks again if you want, or you could hover the arms right up into it here. On your inhale, lift the chest, the arms, the leg, or use your blocks. And feel that inner steadiness. Almost like you're kind of floating as you anchor down through the foot, but broaden through the chest. Nice deep breath there. Inhale there. And then exhale, slowly step it back. Plant the hands down, and then we're going to come right into Vashisthasana. Again, that could be right foot on the floor still, or stacking the feet. This time, make a little C shape. Push the floor away, round, lengthen that right side. And then you might step the right foot to the floor behind you so you can easily lower the hips to the ground. Whew. Vrishasana. We're going to cross the right foot over the left leg and then start to rotate around to the right. So you could hook the elbow over the knee or hold on to the knee. But really think about grounding through the pelvis so that you can rebound and lift through the chest. You can feel that same rotation through the rib cage, right ribs back, left ribs forward. Just slowing down your breath without forcing, just lingering. Right, now listen carefully. I'm going to give you one fun opportunity here if you want it. If not, you can just completely ignore me. You're going to grab a block if you have it. If not, you can put your hand on the floor. I'm going to take that block behind the left side of my mat. So if I turn to my left, that block's going to be on its low height under my left hand. Now listen carefully. I'm going to start to kind of turn to that left side. In fact, I'll turn and face you so you can see better. I'm going to turn to that left side, and then we're going to work into an arm balance here. So if you're happy here, it's a little easier if you can lift the foot and grab the foot first. It's kind of just a little awkward, and in fact, it's more of a strength thing, I think, for a lot of people to get that leg up. Now my left thigh is right up against the back of my right calf, and I want those to be really close. So I'm walking my right foot back, and then I'm going to see if I can lift my hips as I push through that left foot. And that block just helps make it a little bit easier to lift the floor up for me here. If you're there, stay, take a breath. If not, same thing, just linger in wherever you're at, appreciating this moment, the breath, whatever shape it takes. And then slowly lower that butt down. And you're just going to come right around into tabletop there. So you should be facing the front of your mat again. And then from there, you can just go ahead and tuck your toes and come back into downward facing dog. And then look between your hands, step your right foot forward, and then we're going to come into pyramid pose. Just go ahead and fold forward and try and get your belly close to your thigh. So you might bend the knee and try and get them as close as you can. And then keep that proximity as you start to extend the knee. It doesn't need to straighten. Deep breath. Now, if you have your blocks, go ahead and grab your block here. We're going to come into revolved triangle. I'm going to place it on the inside of my right foot, on either the medium height, if you're feeling like your hamstrings are more flexible, or on the highest height, if you want a little more support. Okay, step your back foot in a little bit, turn your left foot out, anchor that left foot down. Before you come into it, go ahead and take your right outer hip back, lift up and lengthen the side ribs forward. And then imagine your sternum turning to the right as we've been doing through practice. Push the left hand into the block, and then you can stretch your right arm up there, or take it to the hip or the back. Nice deep breath. Ground down through both legs to help you lengthen through the spine. Even if you need to bend the knee a little bit there, really plug into the legs. Now imagine everything from your waist up is going to stay the same, other than that you're going to turn your head to the ground. So turn your head and look down. Everything from the waist up stays the same. Bend your right knee. If you've got the block, walk it forward, revolved half moon. Lift that left leg. Rotate the sternum to the right. Last one here. Level off the pelvis. Draw your right outer hip back. Take one more breath, lengthening through the midline. And then exhale, Uttanasana, folding forward. Now, if you were using that block for Garudasana, take the block on its low height outside of your right foot now. And then inhale, come all the way up to stand. Take a moment to notice the two sides. And then lean your weight onto your right foot. Sweep that left leg over and set the left foot on the block. Garudasana, left arm under the right. Inhale, reach the elbows forward. Exhale to round elbows toward knees. Deep breath there. Breathing a little spaciousness into the upper back of the heart. You're going to keep the arms come on up. Take your left knee into your chest, stand tall. And then nothing else moves, just rotate the arms and the chest to the left. Stand up nice and tall. And then keep that stretch the arms apart. You can grab the knee or the foot. And again, think about the right ribs wrapping forward, left ribs wrapping back as you stand up nice and tall. And then slowly release. Inhale, turn the torso forward. Exhale, cross the ankles and fold forward. Again, you can grab your blocks if you want to for Digasana, or you might just float right up into it here all at once. So start to lift the chest, maybe start to float the leg. Right leg lifts behind you, Digasana. Again, you can keep the hands on the blocks if you like. Deep breath. Try and square the pelvis toward the floor. Try and draw your shoulder blades back here. Broaden through your clavicles, but keep the support in the belly. Slowly start to bend that left knee. Slow it down. And then low lunge. Plant the right hand down. Vashisthasana. Again, you can keep the foot on the floor there, but really push the floor away this time with your right hand and lift the hips. Stretch through that left side. And then step the left foot behind you. Gently lower the hips to the ground. Mrityasana here. Left foot steps over the right leg. Inhale, sit up tall. Exhale, twist to the left. So again, you can hug the knee or hook the elbow over the knee. Your choice. Slow down the breath. See if you can lift the low back out of the pelvis. Lift up tall. And then again, left ribs back, right ribs wrap through the leg there. Inhale, release your twist. And then exhale, if you've got a block, go ahead and grab it. You're going to place it on its lowest height. So it's right behind my hips here, and I've got it under my right hand. So I'm going to be facing the long edge of my mat. And take a moment and just open your mind. If you're wanting to explore the arm balance here, open your mind to the possibility that it could happen. Sometimes I think that's sometimes it's our biggest obstacle. So my left hand's going to grab my right foot. So it's helpful if you can grab it before you go, which sometimes is more of a strength issue and just an awkward issue. Then I'm going to walk that left foot in so that the right thigh is right behind my left calf. And my right hand's on the block. So find a plump throw position for that. That's going to be almost like a push-up position there. I'm going to lean forward as I push through my hand and my foot to lift up the hips. There's a little trust involved there. Deep breath. Again, whatever you've got, embrace the breath, the moment. Carefully set the butt down. Release and come back into tabletop there. Downward facing dog. Deep breath, lengthen. Exhale, soften. Step the left foot forward for pyramid, just for a couple of breaths. And maybe you bend the knee for a moment and try and get the belly really close to the thigh. And then try and keep that proximity as you start to extend the knee. It doesn't need to straighten. Deep breath. We're heading into a triangle, so grab your block, place it on the inside of that left foot. Again, middle or high height. And then turn your right foot out. You might step it in a little closer too. And then take a moment there. If you've got your blocks, your hand can be on the floor or the top of the foot. If not, take a moment there to come up. Take your left outer hip back. Lengthen the sides of the ribs forward there. And then again, think about the sternum rotating as you start to take that left arm up. Notice so it feels maybe a little easier. We've worked a lot through the upper back, so if that's your limitation in this pose, this should feel a lot easier if the hamstrings are the bigger limitation. There's a lot going on in this pose. There may still be some resistance there. Of course, there's always some. The resistance is what keeps our bodies upright. We don't want to eliminate all resistance, because some of it's a good thing. Now keep all of that. Turn your head down. Nothing from the waist up moves. Just bend your left knee. Walk the block forward or the hand forward and come on up into revolved half moon. So try and level up the pelvis. Keep rotating through the sternum. Take the left ribs back, right ribs through. Ground back through that right heel. Take another breath. And then exhale, fold it forward. Take an inhale, come all the way up to stand. And we're going to head to the wall as I start to bring things down. And we're going to do our back bends at the wall. So this is going to be a kind of more accessible back bend. It's not going to be a deep back bend. So if you're dying for something else, feel free to come into another back bend. We're going to take up dog at the wall. And if you'd like a little extra support, if you tend to lay on your low back, grab a block or a rolled up blanket and squeeze it between your inner thighs. Now for this first one, I'm going to step about 1.5 feet away from the wall, give or take. And then I'm going to place my hands on the wall at about shoulder height. And I'm going to let my body kind of start to sink into the wall to begin with. Draw the shoulder blades back. Then squeeze your block or imaginary block. Engage the belly. And then start to push away, just the chest away from the wall. Broaden through the clavicles. Squeeze the elbows in, spread the hands apart. And just let it be kind of a small but active back bend here. Take another breath. And then slowly push the hips away, come to stand. You can repeat that one. Or you're going to walk the feet in a little closer. So I'm about 6 inches from the wall now. I'm going to put my hands at the wall, shoulder height. Hug the elbows in, split the hands apart. Now really anchor down through the legs. So my lower body is going to kind of stay steady in this one. And I'm going to be like I'm doing a drop back, but I'm not. We're just going to go a little bit here. But I want you to think about actively pushing the wall away as if you were coming into up dog on the floor. You're not going to straighten your arms here, but really anchor through the legs, lift up through the chest, and just start to curl that upper back. Now you can look up if you want, or you can tuck the chin and look toward the wall, whatever you prefer for the neck. I kind of tend to sit at my computer a lot, so sometimes a little bit of that activation of the front of the neck feels good to me. Hug the elbows in, split the hands apart, and then come back up. If you got that block there, remove it. If you were doing a different back bend, go ahead and come up and join us at the wall. I'm going to place my hands at about shoulder height on the wall again. Keep the right hand there and start to turn to the left. Wing the right elbow up, and I'm turning toward so that the right side of my body is toward the wall. So I'm facing perpendicular to the wall. Okay, right elbow up. My feet are about 6 to 12 inches from the wall. I'm just going to bend away from the wall. So my hips are coming in toward the wall. My shoulders are coming away from the wall. My right elbow is winging up. And what we're looking for here is just some kind of stretch to the side of the body. You might feel it more through the pecs and the chest. But I'm just trying to bend away from the wall chest away from the wall, hips toward the wall as I wing my right elbow up. Stay for a couple more breaths here. Okay, come on up, come back to face the wall, hands at shoulder height. Drop the right hand down, turn to the right so that you're perpendicular to the wall. Wing that left elbow up. Again, my feet are about 12 inches, maybe give or take. And then bend away from the wall. So hips can kind of lean toward the wall, but I'm really thinking about side bending to the right. Lift that left elbow up. You could also drop the head to the right if that feels good. Again, you might feel it more on the side of the body. You might feel it more in the chest or the pec or the shoulder. Just breathe into it. On your inhale, go ahead and come on up. So for this next one, you've got two options to come into. One is going to be a forward fold with your hips on the wall so that you can walk your feet out. You could even put the bolster on your thighs and fold forward here. We're going to kind of move to this more decadent floor bound part of the practice. So that could be one, or you could turn away from the wall here and land kind of the low back or the sacrum or even the mid back more kind of on the wall here and come into a forward fold. If none of that sounds good to you, you're welcome just to take Paschimottanasana, so seated forward fold here. All right, come on into it. We'll just be here for a minute or so. And what I'd like you to do as you come into this one is to start to shift your attention from the external world to the internal world. As you perhaps bow the head, kind of bowing that intellect of the head to the intelligence of the heart. Again, leaning into this space where you can really welcome whatever you find there as we shift into this inward focused practice, or this inward focused portion of the practice. And just take a few more moments there. Just slowly start to ease off. So if you're like me and you have a bolster, remove that first. Then you can use the hands on the wall to help you come up for a moment. Just so that you can come right back down onto your mat. We're going to do one more at the wall. And we're going to start with legs up the wall to come into this one here. So you won't need any props, so you can move those aside. But go ahead and start to come into legs up the wall. So you can scoot your hip right up against the wall there. You might put some layers on like I am, so you can stay nice and warm as we start to come into the more passive part of the practice. So I'm going to just roll on down. And just take a few moments there with the legs at the wall. So you can walk the hips out a little further from the wall if you like, or keep them in nice and close. Just welcoming this more passive inversion. Great one to help support this, the circulatory and lymphatics systems there. And then we're going to come right into, you have two choices here. One is to come into Baddha Konasana. So this usually feels more supported if your hips are closer to the wall, but find the right distance for you. Or you can wiggle your hips back just a little bit and come into Malasana. And I like to support my knees or my legs with the hands there. Just make sure your elbows are on the floor so your arms don't have to work. So either Malasana or Baddha Konasana. If you're not sure, just come into Baddha Konasana. That's usually the easier one to navigate here. Now, you're not going to be able to see me probably anymore, which is fine. Just listen carefully as I'm going to talk you through a little bit of acupressure here. And if you want to, you can just tune me out and just relax here if you prefer. But around this support and lifting of the spirit, as well as this kind of calm anchoring of the heart. We're going to do a few acupressure points here. So the first one we're going to do is going to be right on the outer crease of the wrist. So if you kind of follow the wrist crease to the outer edge, the pinky side of your hand or the pinky side of your wrist, it's a point right on that outer wrist crease. It doesn't need to be any more specific than that. You're not going to be able to really see me here anyways. So just following that wrist crease to the outer part. And you have some choices here. One, you could do one side at a time and just tap with your finger. Or if it feels comfortable and you prefer, you might be able to find a way to press on both sides, right and left together, and just pressing on that point. Now, your arms probably aren't going to be able to completely relax there, but find a comfortable position where you can relax the arms as much as possible. And just make sure if you're tapping, I'll let you know when to switch sides in a moment there. Some days I prefer the tapping, some days I prefer the pressure. So just go with whatever feels good. So if you're tapping, now's about the time you want to switch sides there. This is a really potent point for regulating the heart in Chinese medicine. A nice, really potent calming point, which I think is good day or night, especially if you need a little extra calming in your day. Great, and then slowly start to release that one. The next one we're going to work on here, the next point is a lung point, and I want you to go ahead and find your clavicles, and from the outermost part of your clavicle, go in about a third of the way. So from the outermost edge of your clavicle at your shoulder there, go in about a third of the way, and then fall right off of it, and you'll feel like a little hollow there. You'll feel like you're right on the top of the pecs. And again, you can either press and massage or you can tap. We're around the first two lung points here. And these are really great to bring a positive sense of self, self-worth, self-esteem, also a source of inspiration. Again, another one to kind of support the mood. Skin tapping or massaging as a way to stimulate the points to regulate this more subtle energetic flow. The metal element also brings a nice source of balance to the heart, or the fire element. Right, and then slowly releasing that last one here. Go ahead and take your left fingertips to the midpoint of your sternum, both right to left and up and down. So the midpoint, the center of the sternum, lengthwise and widthwise. And then take the right hand to the very crown of your head, and you're going to tap on both of those points together. 2 points here. The one on the crown of the head is a great one to lift energy in the body, which could be for mood or other more physiological issues, but a lifting point for us for helping to regulate the mood. And the one right on the center of the sternum is a nice calming point. So I love this balance of both calming and kind of invigorating and lifting the mood. Any of these that you really like are great ones to come back to during your day too. As you keep tapping for a few more moments there, feel the pelvis drop, feel the legs relax, the low back soften. And then slow down the tapping and just rest your arms for a moment. Sense how that lands in your body, like ripples in a pond. And just slowly start to bring your knees together. You're in Baddha Konasana. Wiggle your hips away from the wall a little bit there so that you can roll onto one side. Our final pose is going to kind of be like, think about this as the beginning of your shavasana. Go ahead and come up as you're ready, and we're going to use those blankets now. So you could have your bolster near you if you want it for your knees in shavasana later. But we're going to start with a really nice supported back bend to end with and take us into our shavasana. So if you have towels, you're going to roll up 2 of them. So I want one big roll and I'm going to have one small roll. So if you have this yoga blanket, I'm going to roll up the short edge so I have a really nice thick roll. And in fact, if you like back bends and you want a little bit bigger roll, you could open that up and fold it into thirds here and then roll up that short edge and you'll get a nice, really big roll there. I don't really have a super bendy back like some, but I like the bigger roll here. And then, so I've got that big roll nice and tightly rolled up. And then I've got my second blanket here, which is going to go behind my head. So as you're ready, you're going to go ahead and you won't use the bolster just yet because I'm going to put my feet on the floor and my knees are going to be bent. Let's say you can put it there, but you're not going to use it yet. I'm going to lie back on this roll so that it takes me into a really nice back bend. And instead of landing on the back of my head or the top of my head, I'm going to be kind of like if my head were a box, the top of my head and the back of my head, it would be kind of like on the back corner of my head. And then I'm going to take that second blanket and make a nice big roll just to kind of support the back of the neck a little bit. And know that your neck is going to be in a little bit of extension here. And so I want to be kind of on that back corner of the crown of the head. And just make sure you have enough support for the neck that you feel like you can really relax here. And if all of that's too much, you can just come out and make this roll behind your back smaller or just come right into Shavasana. So my arms are out to my sides. My feet, I'm going to walk them a little wider than my hips so that I can lean my knees in and relax my legs a little more. But having the feet on the ground and the knees bent will take some pressure. We'll take the pressure out of the low back. So you shouldn't feel anything in the low back. And if you do, you might have that roll too low. So I want that roll right across the mid back. All right, when you're ready, drop right in. And I want you to consider this the beginning of your Shavasana. So really approach it like it's a very decadent, deep relaxation here. Feel yourself melt over your props. We're going to start with a little bit of pranayama here, very simple. Keep the breath really relaxed. I just want you to start to take a 4-count inhale and a 4-count exhale. We're just going to stick with the Samavriti, this even count breath, as a way to both invigorate and calm, balance the mind, the nervous system. So with a 4-count inhale, 4-count exhale, just really allow it to be an easeful breath. And if it feels natural and welcome, maybe the next round is a 5-count inhale, 5-count exhale. Rather than forcing the breath, you're just allowing yourself to linger a little longer. If that feels easeful and effortless, this next round, if you'd like, taking a 6-count inhale and a 6-count exhale. So pick one of those 3 and you'll just stay with it for the next couple minutes. Feel the effortlessness in the neck, and the chest. Sense that effortlessness all the way out through the arms and the fingers. And sense that effortlessness all the way down through the lower back, the pelvis, and the legs. Sense that effortlessness even in the mind as the brain rests on the back of your skull, the back kind of top of your skull. Allow the breath to be decadent as it infuses you with energy and vitality on your inhale and softens you into this easeful, maybe even a puddle on your exhale. So that you can replenish and also find ease here. And then take one more round of that breath. And then allow your breath to be natural here. Sense how that balance lands in your body. Maybe more physically, maybe in the quality of the mind or your mental outlook. Now, you're welcome to stay here a little longer if you like, if you're loving it. Otherwise, we're going to keep the roll behind the neck and just as smoothly as possible make our way to Shavasana. So you're just going to start to roll to your side just enough that you can remove the blanket behind the heart and then carefully roll back onto your back. You'll probably need to unroll the neck roll a little bit there to accommodate this position closer to the floor. And then you can maybe use the second blanket to cover up if you like, or maybe it's just a little weight on top of you to help you relax. And then just find a more neutral position here in your Shavasana for a few minutes. Feel the head drop. Feel the scalp soften. Feel the forehead and eyebrows soften. Feel the eyeballs sink back. Soften the temples, down through the sides of the jaw, down through the sides of the neck. Over both shoulders. Feel the length of both arms soften into the earth. Feel the upper back and chest soften. See if you can relax the belly and allow the lower back to soften. All the way down through the pelvis. And then feel the length of both legs softening and dropping into the earth. Sense that support beneath you. And also perhaps sense that inner support inside of you. Not even so much as a muscular effort, but as an energetic source. Sense that inner support. Nourished here in the stillness. Perhaps expanding a little bit with each breath. You allow the breath just to move freely, passively. Sensing that source of internal support, energetic support, expanding throughout the body. Can you sense what it feels like to be both open and receptive, as well as steady and stable? And we're going to take this awareness into a meditation to close with. So, if you prefer, you can stay on your back. However, if you choose to stay on your back, just set your feet on the floor so that you can be a little bit more alert. Your other option is to come up to a seat. Find something to sit on there so you can sit up a little more easily there, maybe a bolster or blanket. And then take a moment to sense this internal anchor, perhaps in the lower part of your body, or if you're on your back, the back side of your body. And then feeling into a quality of spaciousness there. Perhaps that's in the upper body, or if you're on your back, the front of the body. Noticing what it feels like to tune into both that quality of grounded, anchored awareness, as well as that spacious awareness. Can you feel into both of those qualities together? Grounded and spacious. Whether they're a feeling or a certain part of the body. Feel the scalp soften, almost as if that softness was dripping down through the temples and the jaw and the face. And then feeling into the inside of your mouth, smiling. Bringing your attention down into that anchor of the pelvis. See if you can imagine again that internal aspect, that internal awareness of the pelvis, smiling inwardly. Bring your awareness up to the brain, all of its brilliance and intelligence and information it stores for us. Imagine this inner smile of the brain. And bring your attention down into the heart in all of its glory, kindness and compassion of this heart, the joy and love that we express and experience, and all of our capacity for love in all of its forms. Imagine this inner smile of the heart extending from one side to the other. Notice if there's a quality or feeling associated with that. And see if you can imagine that quality expanding outward from there, from the heart out through the whole body. Perhaps feeling that quality in every cell, each cell smiling. And at the same time, sensing that internal steadiness, groundedness, that anchor. Feel a hint of a smile spread across your face as your way of sharing this quality, this feeling with the world around you. And keeping that awareness inside of you as you slowly start to open your eyes and bring this awareness with you out into your day. Thank you for joining me today. Namaste.